I was talking with a colleague last week about my latest book that's out today, by the way, so please get a copy, link in the description. And he asked a pretty basic question. What's the thesis? Now, he's an intelligence analyst, so let me translate that. A thesis is the point of a nonfiction book. What's the big argument? Why did you write it? What does it add to the world of knowledge and understanding? What will readers think, feel, or do differently after reading it? Or, in other words, what's the problem you're trying to solve? That's even more important than the solution, is making sure that you have defined the problem correctly. That's a really high quality question, and I'd like to answer it for you with pictures. I like to draw pictures. It's one of the ways I think about things. I like stories and I like pictures. So consider this the picture version of a teaser of the book in visual format. Who knows? Maybe the second edition will include more graphics, but graphics are really expensive to print. I don't know if you've ever priced it out, but especially color graphics, really expensive. YouTube is cheaper. So here goes. The problem? In pictures.
I wrote this book for innovators, inventors, and creative people trying to bring new ideas, products, and services into the world. I'm one of them, frankly, and in fact, I've spent my entire career doing it. I also know that it is really, really, really hard. Most new products, services, and ideas fail to sell, and they fail to change anyone's mind. And that's how I noticed the problem. It took me a long time to find it, and I want to show you how I figured it out, and I want to see if you can pick up on it. This visual shows you how we're trained to evaluate those ideas. So let me walk you through it. This first circle up here, see the smiley face? That is desirability. Basically, in this circle, you are asking the question, does anyone want this? Now, sometimes you need to show people a new product or tell them about a new idea before they know if they're going to like it or not. But at bottom, if you're trying to sell mittens in Miami in the summer, you are going to be out of luck. This second circle over here is feasibility. Can we actually do it? Now, some ideas are a little easier than actual products or services, but even an idea needs to be expressed in a coherent way. If you can't make it, you really don't have anything to offer. This third circle over here is profitability. Most people think that's about making money, and it certainly can be, but it's simpler than that. Does what you get out of something exceed what you put into it? That's outputs greater than inputs. Now, you can lose money or time for a little while, but eventually you'll go broke or you'll burn out. It's the old saying, eventually the credit card bill always comes due. I think a better word for this is sustainability, but I didn't pick the word. So if we want to write sustainability in here, if that feels better to you, go ahead and write sustainability in here. All it means is that over time, your outputs are higher than your inputs. So there's a little bit extra that you can keep into continuing to develop this particular product, service, or idea. When you innovate, what you're looking for is the intersection between all three of these things. That's the sweet spot. That's what you're trying to do. Now, know that this entire diagram here fits within a market context. You're not trying to innovate for everyone, everywhere. At least most of the time we're not. So this Venn diagram exists within a market or within a group, within a geography, wherever the case may be. Now, if you're missing any one of these circles in your innovation, you are in trouble. So let's take a look at what that means. A product that is desirable and feasible, but not profitable, is a money pit. Now, Uber, this is the Uber logo, if you couldn't tell what that was. That is the classic example. So sometimes you can have a really popular company that is losing money hand over fist, and they've lost money for years. The strategy here is to get people so used to using it that they can start to jack up the price later, or maybe hope driverless cars can save them. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but most people and companies don't have a bottomless pit of venture capital to tap into. So that's why this is a danger zone. This is a trap. Now let's move on. A product that is feasible and profitable, but not desirable, okay, is a field of dreams. And this one, I like to put new Coke. Kids, if you forgot what New Coke is, go ask your parents, ask a Gen Xer what New Coke is. This is something that is feasible. They absolutely could do it. They thought it would be profitable because they know how to make sugar water, but nobody wanted it. So again, field of dreams, if you build it, they will come. Be really careful here. Lots of innovators fall into this trap where, yes, I can do it. Yes, I found a way to make money, but nobody really wants it. Okay, finally, a product that is profitable and desirable, but not feasible, is science fiction. And so I drew the little Star Trek logo here. You see that? Is that a good Star Trek logo? I think that's a pretty good Star Trek logo. I kind of wanted to put the red shirt guy right here. If you know, you know, because it's sort of desirable and sort of profitable. Everyone wants matter transporters. They want food replicators. They want warp drive. They want all these things. But the likelihood is you are not going to be able to do that anytime soon. No, but be careful. You have to keep an eye on this section because things like AI and quantum computing not long ago fit into this category and just started to become feasible. So again, they could move into this sweet spot. We need to be careful. Now, that last thing I talked about, for a long time, that part's a clue. So let's explore that. This chart here looks pretty comprehensive, and there's even been a new one. This is kind of that ikigai sort of idea from Japan, where we've got desirability, profitability, feasibility, and another P. That's why maybe this should be S right here for sustainability. That way the P is different. P is for purpose or passion. I colored it in purple because that seems like a passionate color. I'm from Minnesota originally. That was Prince's color right here. He seemed passionate. So again, same idea right here. You'd added another circle, kind of made your sweet spot a little bit harder to hit, but that's okay. Great, I got this, but it doesn't really solve the problem. And this is how we know that. I'm going to say, does this model really answer all the questions? And as I've been talking, you might have been thinking about these to yourself. So let's actually run through them and let's see if this model really answers those questions. So cool, let's start there. Well, that's kind of obvious. That's desirability. That's this little guy here. He's having a good time. He is or she is the person that wants this product. Great. So we've kind of checked that box. What? Well, what's the sweet spot? This is what we're trying to accomplish here, this middle ground. So I feel pretty good about what. Okay, when? Let's come back to when real quick. Okay, where? Well, remember that I said that this entire thing kind of fits inside a market context, a geography or a particular market of pet owners or whatever the case may be. It exists in a context. So I feel pretty good about where that's going to happen. None of these questions are easy, by the way, but this model answers them. The next one is why, and that's where this little Prince Purple kind of helps us, where the driving purpose doesn't have to be about making money, me make money good. You can have a higher level purpose than this, especially when you're innovating on an idea and not a product. It's a really good idea that becomes a lot more obvious over here, but lots of products, lots of B Corps have great purposes. So probably a great addition to have Prince Purple up here in the corner. And then finally, how? Well, how is pretty easy. That's feasibility. So that helps us make sure that, okay, we can actually do what we want to do, and we can afford to do that. We have enough money to be able to fund this process. Okay, great. You remember what question we skipped? We skipped when. This is sort of the problem because this is a frozen moment in time. And it's a little easier to see if I kind of move my hand away and you can see what I've been doing here. This little line down here says time. That's what that is. Usually on a graph, time is the x-axis. And we sort of missed that here. This entire graph fits probably right here. This is sometimes what we call a market window, when profitability, desirability, which can be fickle, and feasibility all line up within a specific moment in time. Try to innovate back here and it's too early. Try to innovate back here and you're too late. When you think about it this way, this becomes the most important question because all markets, let me say this again for everybody in the back, all markets evolve over time. These three things never just stay here. They will go out of sync and they might come back into the sync and then they'll go out of sync again. Market windows aren't just one thing. They could be multiple things. And see here, these two are in the same place. But again, these are those danger zones that we need to avoid. Only when all three line up do you really have a market window. Figuring out the time question here is the critical item that this graph, this way we have all been taught to do this, doesn't address the problem. This is the critical question. Figuring out how these factors change over time is what my book is about. It's meant to answer this question because innovation is a moving target. And innovators, that means all of us, need to get a lot more strategic about not just how we think about time, but how we manipulate it.
That's it for this video. In future videos, I want to show you how to identify windows of opportunity, just making sure that we see time differently and we see those three factors evolving over time. And then finally, want to show you how to begin to architect time, be able to manipulate those factors to your advantage. That is really what the book is all about. But if you don't understand the problem, it's very hard to understand the solution. So until then, I'll see you on the next one.